I'm Mario Martinez Jr., CEO and founder of Vengreso, and we are the creators of FlyMSG.io, the free personal writing assistant and text expander application. On each episode of this podcast, you will hear from sales leaders, practitioners, and influencers to help you grow your sales numbers at scale. So, get your pen and paper or iPad and keyboard and start taking notes as you're now listening to the Moderate Selling Podcast. Welcome. I'm Mario Martinez Jr., CEO and founder of Vengreso, and you are here to learn about investing in Vengreso, an early stage venture. So we're very excited. I'm going to actually take you through our pitch deck and spend some time talking about that, answering some questions that have already been submitted. Interestingly enough, I'll take you back and tell you a little story. First off, about myself. I'm Mario, as I mentioned, and I am the founder of Vengreso. And about 5.5 years ago, we started Vengreso with a mission, and that was to become the world's largest digital sales prospecting training company. That's what we were. And over the last 5 years, Viv and myself and some of our board members who are former founders as well, took Vengreso, and we did become exactly that. So very exciting to see what we did. But in December of 2020, we did something, and we launched an application called FlyMSG. I'll show you what FlyMSG does in just a moment. And we launched this very specifically to support our training programs. You know, growing up, I grew up from a poor Latino family, and my dad always told me, whatever you do, mijo, just be the best at it. So one of the things that we found was when we were working with our sellers inside of our training programs, we always found that sellers used to have a set of scripts. And those scripts that they would have would be stored in a Google Doc, Word Doc, OneNote, Evernote, Notepad, Notebook, draft email, or worse yet, they would hunt and peck for their messages. And that would take time. Every time they had to go stop, look up something, find something, copy and paste it over, then edit it, it would delay time for a seller. So we launched FlyMSG to take all of those messages, prospecting messages, customer engagement messages, LinkedIn messages that you could utilize, and over 60 different scripts that we taught, and put it into FlyMSG in the cloud. And with a few short keystrokes, you literally could actually take the time and build out those messages instantly in nanoseconds. All right, that's what we launched. That was in December of 2020. Now let's fast forward to a year later. And one morning I woke up and I got an alert that an online digital pharmacy had onboarded all their pharmacists to FlyMSG. And I thought, what are pharmacists doing on top of a sales productivity tool? Turns out, pharmacists also had repeatable messages that they utilized over and over again in their day-to-day operations. We received your prescription. We couldn't process your prescription. There's a problem with your insurance. And that's when we began to peel back the onion, if you would. And it's been an amazing journey because as we found out at that time, back in November, we had roughly about 2,000 users on the platform. Mind you, Vengreso had only onboarded about 500 users. So these other 1,500 users came because Reese told Johnny, Johnny told Howard, Howard told Simon, Simon told Ron, Ron told Mary, and you name it, we had it inside there from a word of mouth marketing. Now, what was very interesting was that at that time, only 30% of our users were the sales line of business. It was the 70% that actually caught our attention that we said, whoa, wait a minute. Who are all of these other users that are on the platform? Turns out that FlyMSG had many different use cases. We didn't have a sales productivity tool. We had a business productivity tool that was addressing needs across every single vertical, from human resources to onboarding and offboarding for new employees and or employees in the organization. Welcome to your first day on the job. Here's what you do on the second day. Here's what you do on the third day. Sorry, today's your last day on the job. This is where you turn in equipment. We also had individuals that were from customer service, answering frequently asked questions through online chat, utilizing FlyMSG for short snippets or answers with pictures and videos. In addition, we had recruiters that were utilizing the application for reaching out to new candidates. We also had business owners utilizing it for when they scan that information that came in from the IRS or from something related to that legal, that they had to scan it and then send it off to whoever it was that that needed that information, and to put a standard message inside of that email. Hey, please make sure you file this. Please make sure you address that, instead of having to retype that in over and over again. And we also had lawyers, doctors, physical therapists, pharmacists, professors for doing course syllabi on a week-over-week basis, educators, you name it, we had it. And that was what was very exciting to Vivica and myself, that last 70%, if you would, that really started opening up this market to us. And what I want to do here today is I want to actually take you through and showcase to you the Vengreso opportunity, because in fact, we are crowdfunding. So far, we've done in the last 60 days about $200,000 in investments from angel investors just like you. Vivica and I made a decision in December of 2021 that we were going to pivot our company based upon doing service and move it into a SaaS technology company. So who are we today? Well, a personal writing assistant and text expander platform that helps today's modern knowledge worker replace the copy and paste. You've dealt with this for a long time. You've had your messages stored somewhere, as I mentioned, in a Google Doc, Word Doc, OneNote, Evernote, Notepad, Notebook, draft email, or you've gone back and you said, what did I send to so-and-so? And you spent 15 minutes searching for it. Now, all those messages or even snippets of messages could actually be deployed out using a auto text expander like FlyMSG. And I'll show you an example of that in just one moment. So let's talk about the market size and the growth. You know, pre-COVID, the PMS market, the productivity management software market, which needs, by the way, a new acronym, it roughly doubled in size. And today it sits at about a $42 billion market. In the next 6 years, it is forecasted to grow to $122 billion in productivity management software market. Why? Because you and I are all looking for solutions to be able to increase our own individual productivity. And it's growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 14.49%, which is phenomenal. So what's the problem that we are addressing? The problem? Simple. We spend a minimum of 25 hours spent on manual, repetitive tasks with email and data entry. In addition, add on top of that the distractions that come in, the pings and the dings and the phone calls that actually add on another 25% worth of trying to get refocused time. And all in all, we end up with 52% of our day that is spent doing manual repetitive tasks and focusing and refocusing. That is about $16 trillion lost in global productivity if you look at every knowledge worker across the globe. And there are about 1 billion. What do we do and how do we solve this problem today? Well, we literally copy and paste. We copy and paste. How many times have you copied and pasted? Example, you want to go into a meeting and someone says, what's your Zoom link? What do? 8 out of 10 people will turn around and go find that Zoom link, then copy it, then paste it. That's on average about 2 to 7 minutes that you would spend trying to find that Zoom link just to get somebody into your Zoom room. What a waste. So, introducing FlyMSG. We found the solution to help solve the productivity problem, replacing copy and paste, increasing your individual communication efficiency. And we've utilized this now from December of 2020 till present day with now 4,000 users around the globe, with roughly about 35% of the users being across the international waters. So this has been growing by leaps and bounds, all because of word of mouth marketing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to show you what FlyMSG does. You're going to see an actual chat session with my friend Felipe Gonzalez. And here I go. I'm going to type in -ZM and enter. Holy crud. Did you see what just happened? -ZM, it built out my Zoom room link, and there I go. Or I could go here and I could create a new message. Let's say I actually want to reach out and book a meeting. I'm responding to somebody. I can simply type in -BAM for book a meeting, and voila, look what just happened. It built out right before my eyes. Or I could be doing things like my bio. Maybe I'm a business owner and I'm a speaker, and I'm going to type in dash bio, and I builds out everything that I want pre-identified, hyperlinks, subheadings, all that good stuff, bullet points. Or maybe I'm a customer service rep and I want to actually send a video that goes to somebody. I'm going to do dash intro, FU for follow-up, and I can bring in content just like this. I can actually add my videos inside there. And not only can I do it on email, but I can do this anywhere on the web. Anywhere on the web. And that's the exciting part about this. So I can use LinkedIn for LinkedIn messaging, by the way. I can utilize this in my Salesforce or HubSpot or Pipedrive, or you fill in the blank. I could also use this to fill in a form as an example that I may be using online, and have these short, what we call fly cuts or shortcuts as well that you can utilize. The sky is the limit when it comes to increasing your productivity. And some really cool stuff that I'll answer at the end here in terms of what we're doing. How does it work? Our goal and mission is to help you type less to do more. You can go to Vengreso.com or FlyMSG.io, and you can see some of these great Giphies, and you can see some of these things happening right here before your eyes. We've got a whole library, over 203 fly plates that are out there and growing by the community. You have the ability to essentially take our library and utilize those messages. For the sales line of business, 60 different scripts. For HR, you've got about 40 different scripts that are inside there. And then the list goes on for CS, customer service, etc. You have the ability to categorize all your content inside of FlyMSG. So no longer is that super, super duper long Word document. And in that long Word document, you essentially have the inability to be able to categorize it except through a table of contents. And then you're sifting through stuff. I'll actually show you a way that you can access the advanced and basic search within FlyMSG. So where does it work? Everywhere online. Anything with an HTTP, HTTPS. Why did we focus in online as opposed to a downloadable? First, we will have a downloadable in 2023, and that is to address specific needs like Outlook on the desktop itself. However, everywhere online, what we have found, our research indicates that most users are traversing at least 10 or more applications throughout the day. And because of the SaaS infrastructure that most organizations have, we're traversing these applications online. So it made sense to be able to utilize FlyMSG everywhere online in any of these applications. And today we're live on Chrome, and we're live on Edge, and soon to come by Safari, Opera, and Firefox, and we'll cover 100% of desktop users out there in the marketplace. So what's our traction? I mentioned this earlier, 4,000 users via word of mouth marketing and search engine optimization. That's happened in the last year and a half that we've grown. And so people are starting to see the value of being able to quickly increase their productivity. And by the way, our focus, product-led growth. What do I mean by product-led growth? It means the individual is finding the solution to their specific problem. We've also got traction in terms of our ARR. We obviously are a much larger company on the service side. However, as we've migrated over all of our services to the software side, we've got about $85,000 in annual recurring revenue. Note, we just launched the software side of our business in August of this year. So this is pretty good traction in terms of what we're doing. In addition to that, we've got a lot of legacy contracts that are being converted right now onto the enterprise into software licenses as well. I can't comment on the actual number quite yet because we're not finalized all those things, but rest assured, we're moving everything over into the software line of business, our starter, growth, and our sales pro plan. Many of you have asked, what's that ratio look like? Because Vengreso is the 800-pound gorilla when it came to the sales line of business. So wait a minute, how are you going to go across the entire horizontal as a product-led growth company? Our ratio already made itself. 70% all lines of businesses, from everything non-sales. So it could be a business owner, it could be a physician, it could be a doctor, lawyer, it could be a real estate agent, or it could be any other role, accounts payable, HR, customer service, you name it. So 70% of our users are the non-sales line of business. And of course, the sales line of business. Today, we've got over almost 20,000 visitors a month on our website, and every one of those users on our 100,000 person marketing list can all be target users of FlyMSG. So the cool part about this conversion into a software company for Vengreso was that it was an easy transition, because every user that we sold to in the past is the user that we can still sell to in the present. So this is our traction. You can see the types of companies that are using us. One of the coolest things that I found out was Google developers, yes, software developers utilizing FlyMSG for snippets of code that they use over and over again are actually on our platform, and they're from Google. So pretty cool about that. Here's what people are saying about us in terms of those that have utilized the application. Thanks to Steve and Teresa and Joe and Joey, Susan, Roy, Nancy, all of you guys. We appreciate you guys being customers of us. So what about our target? Who's the target customer? 1 billion knowledge workers. That is no joke, everyone. When we talk about the target customers, it's a huge market that we're going after for people who are focused on repeatable tasks, repeatable messages, and or needing automation with respects to the written word. Customer service, I gave you that example earlier, answering online frequently asked questions. Business owners, human resources for onboarding and offboarding or recruiting, and salespeople. If you're in sales, you know that salespeople use templates all the time. Whether you've got a sales engagement tool or not, majority of folks do not have a sales engagement tool, and thus this is where it comes in. And those that do, guess what? Those sales engagement tools do not work on one-to-one messaging for a salesperson when it comes to platforms like LinkedIn. So FlyMSG has been utilized across the board. Let's talk a little bit about our competitive landscape. You can see up inside here, we've got some competitors that focus just in on the text expansion. But something that is very unique to Vengreso that we bring to the table, and that is our legacy was built in educating users on how to actually create the right perfect message. How many characters or words should that message be? What do you put in the subject line? What are the 3 parts of an individual message? How long should it be? When should you send it? All of those elements have all been created as content. So Vengreso's legacy, Vivica, myself, and our entire team invested over 10,000 hours into actually developing educational content. We sold that as a training company. Here's what we did. We took out all that on-demand content. We brought it over to FlyMSG. We created a Sales Pro plan, and that Sales Pro plan, now you get the FlyMSG with the content, and now you've got the training and education to help you create those messages and the platform to quickly deploy out those messages. It's a match made in heaven. So this is actually quite unique because nobody else in the industry has this element. Essentially, our competitors, if you look at them and you look back at that slide, they've created a bunch of fools with a tool. And our objective is to not have those types of folks running around. We want to be able to educate those users. And that's why we created that Sales Pro plan. And interestingly enough, no competitor has a plan that is greater than $10 per month. Vengreso does, and we are selling it as we speak. Users that are being added on to that particular plan, both into the enterprise as well as into the product-led growth motion, meaning the individual. So these are some of our competitive advantages. First, as an early stage investor myself, one of the things I look at when I look at early stage investment opportunities is I look at the company and I say, do they have a burning, red hot, fiery, flaming issue that they're trying to solve? And for us, yes, we do. Think about yourself personally. Think about customer service reps. Think about CSMs who are onboarding brand new customers, HR. Everybody has these templates that are stored, and everybody has their own individual templates. And think about the time that you waste trying to find those templates. Now, with a quick few keystrokes, you can have that message built out pretty easily anywhere online. And so with that in mind, what makes us quite unique is that we actually have that product. And in addition to that, we also have the education content. But here's the cool part. We're not your flyby startup company that has the idea. No, we actually have eliminated the second part that I look at is the leadership team and how fast can they get to traction. Well, what we've eliminated is the first 2 years it takes for a startup company to be able to first get a website, get SEO traffic, to build out a marketing list, to build a customer service department, to build a marketing system and operations. We have all of those things in place. So we basically short circuit those first 2 years, and all we're focused on is on the growth segment of the business. And that is a much sexier appeal to an individual angel investor, that we can eliminate those things. And that's what we bring to the table. So here's our business model. If you're wondering how are we going to price these things, we are actually selling all 3 of these plans already. And believe it or not, the growth plan has more activations than the starter plan. So about 4,000 users, about 200 paid for activations. So strong growth in terms of premium subscribers in this particular model. I talked a little bit about the value proposition. I mentioned about streamlining productivity, learning to communicate more effectively and efficiently, and helping users to increase engagement by being able to get through more messages, or even as an example I showed you on chat. How awesome would it be to be able to type in -ZM or -Zoom and you have your link built out for Zoom, Teams, or whatever platform you might be using, versus having to go sit there and sift for it and find it. And of course, you can use it anywhere online. Marketing strategy. If you know Vengreso, then you know that we have built something from 0 to something pretty darn significant. Our social channels, reaching the millions of people, being an influencer myself, along with Vivica Von Rosen, and of course, adding on strategic advisors, which I'll talk about in just a second. So certainly, and no doubt, every one of our angel investors have been walking mouthpieces for us as well. Those individual angel investors, you can go to Vengreso on LinkedIn, and you can see how many folks that are part of Vengreso now. And that are all the angel investors that are coming on and adding it to their profile. And we're getting user after user and investor after investor as a result of utilizing successfully an influencer program. So what do our projected users look like? All right, here you go. About 2 million users is what we forecast, and we feel this is a very conservative number by year number 5. When you look at those users and you break it down by individual package, you can see now what the starter, the growth, and the professional package do. They actually make up a significant amount of our user community. That's that product-led growth. And then you've got that yellow, which is the enterprise. Within the next 2 years, we'll be really focusing in on to the enterprise, because what happens is in PLG is you end up inevitably, just like what happened in Colombia with a BPO, one CSR added on FlyMSG. That CSR, Mary told Johnny, Johnny told Billy, Billy told Susie, Susie told, and you get the idea. And now we've got hundreds inside of that individual organization. So as a product-led growth, what you're looking for is the right time to approach the sales, to involve a sales-led growth motion to be able to see that roll up. In addition, this is what we forecast at a very conservative basis, that this will be a $65 million a year business by the end of year number 5. So very excited to show you these numbers. This is a strong set of numbers. As an early stage investor, I'm looking for companies that are forecasting between that 50 and 100 million, because you've hit that sweet spot inside there. Those that are forecasting the billions and billions of dollars, that's a lot of fluff inside there. So we've been very conservative in terms of what we're projecting as total revenues. And EBITDA, we plan on having positive EBITDA by year 3, which is very consistent with organizations that are in our particular stage. Let me talk a little bit about the founders. Vivica, my co-founder, is one of the most well-known social media influencers out there. She and I today make up what I'm very excited about, is a minority and female-led business. How many minority and female-led businesses do you see out there? Very few. And that's the reason why we are looking for your support to be able to help us out in helping to reach and achieve our goals and get the word out there as well. In addition, myself, you see all the things about myself, and I came from managing corporate revenues of $300 million a year, 18 years in corporate, and the last 6 years essentially running my own individual business, and now taking Vengreso into its major pivot from service to software. It doesn't stop there. We have an advisory board, is extremely strong. Chris O'Brien, Hang Black, Toby Carrington, that is on the enterprise side. These folks actually ended up coming on board as investors, as well as our advisory board, because they saw the opportunity to be able to, in a corporate environment, create messaging for HR, for CS, for CSMs that will be standard and centralized, and then pushing that messaging out so that people can utilize them anywhere in their online engagement, whether it's the CRM, an online chat, you name it. We've got also many other folks, Sherry Leviton, David Merriman Scott, and it doesn't stop there. Our strategic advisors, folks like Daniel Disney, we've got folks like Ben Sims, Tony Hughes, all these major sales and marketing influencers from all over the globe that are actually invested into the organization as well. Interestingly enough, you can invest with as little as $100 in early stage. I'll tell you a story. About 4.5 years ago, I got a phone call from a CEO of a early stage growth company. And he said to me, Mario, I want you to invest. Here's what we're doing. Gave me the same exact pitch that I'm giving you now, except under a different context, of course. I sat there and I thought about that particular investment. And I said, do they have a burning red hot, fiery, flaming issue that is impacting and affecting the sales market space? And the answer was yes, absolutely. Similar to Vengreso, are we solving a burning red hot, fiery, flaming issue? Yes, productivity. Yes, loss of productivity. And yes, specifically for the knowledge worker. Next, I looked at the leadership team. Did I think that they had what it took to be able to take my money and scale it and grow it? And in fact, I did. The passion, the fire in the belly from this CEO was amazing and impressive. And 4 years later, roughly 4 years later, or maybe it was almost 3.5 to 4 years later, I got a phone call saying that we were being cashed out at 16.9x our return. So literally, someone's $50,000 investment turned into a $1 million check. Someone's $5,000 investment turned into an $85,000 check. So what I'm saying to you guys here is the SEC does not allow me to be able to say what your return will be. What I can say, though, is between myself and Vivica and the rest of our entire leadership team, including Jack Wells, my COO, all of the entire team is focused on making this successful. And you know what? If you go to vengreso.com, you'll see that enterprise training has taken a complete backseat. We made that pivot on August 1st to show every one of you where our money, put our money where our mouth was. And we've done that, and we've actually haven't taken on a new enterprise training customer since June of 2022. So we are all in on FlyMSG and focus in on that. As I mentioned, we've done about $200,000. You see about $113,000 here through crowdfunding, and then the rest do direct private angel investments. Those individuals that are interested in doing direct investment to be directly on the cap table, yes, we do have a minimum requirement, and that's a $25,000 check. However, if you are between $100 and $24,999, or you are coming from WeFunder directly for this webinar, then we encourage you to invest directly here online. All you got to do is type in the number, you click invest, and when you do that investment, you'll actually go in and start filling out the rest of the paperwork. It takes 5 minutes and no longer. The one thing I want to point out is for those investors that do at least $5,000 or more, you do get a lifetime access to FlyMSG and a bunch of other cool perks that you'll be getting. And if you mouse over here, you'll see all the different perks that we are giving out for those people that are investing directly onto WeFunder. So what we're asking from you is your help and the opportunity to become one of our angel investors to help blow this up. Some folks that are asking, I'm curious about the impact of AI and competition from other tech giants like Microsoft and others. What's your edge against these giants? Well, first off, let's say this. Interestingly enough, if you look at this space, Text Expander, the personal writing assistant, a lot of the giant tech companies do not want to play in this space and would rather use a partner to facilitate it. Here's why. Companies like LinkedIn or companies like Salesforce, they actually have some snippet technology. Salesforce actually and HubSpot has some of these snippets, but it only works in one place, and that's inside of their CRM, or it works in combination on Gmail and CRM. But it does not work in the 100 other applications that you might be traversing. Why? because they want you to never leave that application, which is why companies like Vengreso's FlyMSG makes total sense to be able to leverage, because we don't care about you staying inside of Salesforce or HubSpot or on Microsoft, as an example. We want to give you the ubiquitous experience of being able to travel to any website, any form, any document, any field, and be able to utilize your messages that you would use over and over again, or a snippet of code or whatever it might be. So that's what makes us unique. However, what I can say is that there have been multiple organizations already of these large tech giants, some of them I mentioned already, that have already tapped us on the shoulder and said, hey, we're watching you. You are a perfect acquisition target for us. Give you an example. You've got some of these sales engagement companies. They're focused in on the corporate enterprise. What they have not been able to do is go from the bottoms up, the groundswell. And so in that particular regard, they're looking to say, how do I break out of just the sales line of business and get into customer service, as an example? Well, Vengreso's FlyMSG is doing that automatically. We're breaking into all these different segments because they don't need an engagement tool. They don't need a cadence tool. There's still a human that's using a brain that's communicating one-to-one, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether it be on chat, whether it be through one-to-one messaging, that still needs assistance with being able to get these messages off and running. So that is one of the things that helps us in this particular scenario. And I mentioned earlier, our legacy was based on building educational content. The good news, we're still going to continue building that educational content. And the better news is we are the only company that has a plan greater than $10. And that is why our ARPU, average revenue per unit, or average revenue per subscriber, is about 3 to 5x more than our competitors today, because we do have that educational content that we continue to add inside there. What protects you from being copied by competitors, if any? Well, first off, we do have competitors. Make no mistake about it. The market is large enough for everybody to exist. The question is not whether or not we want to protect ourselves from competitors. The question that we should be asking as early stage investors is, how do you actually have a quicker, smarter, better plan for execution? And that is essentially what Vengreso has done our entire last 5 years. In addition to that, we're actually, for every product development cycle, and if you want to go back to our website and go to vengreso.com under resources, webinars, you'll actually see the last webinar that we did just last week. And we actually showcased 13 new products, features, and enhancements that we launched in the last 30 days, and the 7 new ones that we'll be launching. And so our focus and strategy has been, look, we know what the market is asking for because we live this day in, day out. And so we've actually asked our users to help us with ranking what do they need. For example, no competitor has a LinkedIn plugin. No competitor has a Gmail plugin. Those are being built as we speak. Now, can someone come in and copy it? Absolutely. But guess what we just did? A month ago, we launched integration with Google Docs, FlyMSG. The largest competitor in this space saw what we did, and a month and a half later, copied us. So our execution strategy is very, very similar to that of what you see is be the first to market and then market the snot out of that. In addition to that, what I want you to keep in mind is we don't care if people copy us. It's not about copying. It's all about how big is the mouthpiece and how fast you can execute those plays. For example, Vivica and myself as influencers pack a punch. No competitor has that same punch as we do. We can get more traffic to our website just through a social post than they can using pay-per-click ads, which is pretty interesting. So with that in mind, we've been growing and scaling in that regard. And the final thing I'd say is not to be contentious, but I want you to go back to 2011 when Grammarly launched Grammarly. Now, who would have thought that Grammarly would be at 30 million subscribers today on the platform when Microsoft had that segment locked down? Who would use doing spell check, grammar check on other platforms or online when Microsoft was the 800-pound gorilla in that space? And Grammarly has wiped the slate clean. Not just that, think about Dropbox as well. Dropbox came out with the same exact scenario, storing your files online. And with that environment, Dropbox nailed it. And then, of course, competitors continue to follow suit. Right. So what I want to just identify to everybody else is can it be copied? Sure, everything can be copied. There's no patents on this, but it's about execution. And it's about the leadership team that's behind it that will execute those plays. Other questions? Oh, great question. Can you share what the future product development roadmap looks like? Great question out there from the audience. Yes. So first, in today's form, what we're focused on is getting the platform up to speed with product-led growth initiatives. For example, Gmail integration native, LinkedIn integration, so that you can actually, if you can't remember your actual shortcuts, you can just click on the button, find your item, and then click it and it auto-populates. Things like adding in variables. So as an example, today we don't integrate into the CRM, but you can put in you will be able to put in a variable that says, hey, insert first name. And when you go to build out, a little pop-up that comes up that says, hey, insert the person's first name. You put in Mario, and then now the message builds out with Mario. You could put in company name, you could put in this, that, the other. So those are some really cool things that are forthcoming in the next 30 to 45 days. And now let me talk about the future. In addition to the sales-led growth motion, which is into the enterprise, and that's the reason why Chris O'Brien, a $26 billion public company, the CCO, has come on as an investor and on our advisory board. Toby Carrington, Hang Black, some of these great juggernaut names, if you would, in the enterprise segment. They're seeing what the opportunity looks like for the enterprise and how they want to be able to scale messaging, consistent messaging across different departments. Phenomenal. Now, what we are thinking about as we go forward is not just being able to scale one-to-one based messaging. What I want you to envision is the power of AI. Imagine you are writing out your template, you're storing it in FlyMSG, and you want some help to be able to actually write out topical paragraphs on a specific topic. Phenomenal. We'll be able to do that in the future. And now you've deployed out your template with dash intro FU for a standard canned message with a video on there. And now you're going to be sending it to John Smith or Mary Susie. Yeah. Now you call up FlyMSG and say, hey, I want you to look at, based upon personality insights, help me to make sure that my message is the perfect message based upon personality insights. Example, where you might have in your template, hey, Mario, exclamation point. FlyMSG might tell you, you know what? You might want to slow your roll, because actually Mario's kind of an old school guy and he would prefer to be greeted as, hi, Mario, comma. That is really cool. And that's what you should be thinking about in terms of 2023. So some really cool stuff that nobody else is thinking about. And of course, all the integrations directly into individual CRMs. That's a 2023 initiative as well. So we're raising our pre-seed. In that pre-seed, it's about a $1.4 million pre-seed. And then we'll move on to another 2.1 million for a total of 3.5 million between pre-seed and seed. So yes, there will be additional rounds. And what we're fundraising right now, for all of the angel investors that are listening in from all over the globe, and thanks for joining in. Whatever your investment is, you're actually getting a 20% discount and a $7 million cap. We forecast then when we go to raise our Series A, that our forecasted valuation is about $27 million. So what does the $7 million cap mean to you? It's pretty darn awesome. So essentially, you won't, 20% or $7 million cap, whichever is greater. So you're guaranteed to have a 20% break on the next future round for investment. And that means your simple agreement for future equity, the safe note, will convert into equities on the Series A. And let's just pretend, using simple math, if you invested $100 with a 20% discount guarantee, that $100 actually becomes $120. So that's how it would work, like that. But now if you have a $7 million cap and our Series A valuation is at a $27 million, well, that $100, and I'm not doing math in my head, but that $100 now is more like a $250 investment. So you get the benefit of that cap. So it's 20% discount or $7 million cap, whichever is greater. And that is what we're fundraising now for this pre-seed round. So very excited, very interesting opportunity. And when I sat here many years ago looking at this first time investing into early stage, and now having invested into multiple early stages as well, again, the things that I think about are, number one, do they have a burning, red hot, fiery, flaming issue that they're trying to solve? And number two, do they have the leadership team that I believe in? And so in my opinion, Vengreso absolutely has found the burning, red hot, fiery, flaming issue. And we didn't find it, actually. Our users found it. They told us, and thus the reason why we pivoted the organization. And in terms of leadership, you can go on LinkedIn, you can research all about me. There's over 120 different recommendations on me alone, and 130, I think it is, on Vivica alone out there on LinkedIn. You can learn all about who we are. And then Jack Wells is our Chief Operating Officer, my right-hand man, one of the greatest assets that I've ever brought into the organization, helping us grow and scale this operation. And the best part is that first 2 years that most early stage investments, which is the high risk, high reward, we believe that Vengreso has averted a lot of those problems and challenges, because we're not trying to build a website. We're not trying to get traffic. We're not trying to do SEO. We're not trying to build a customer service organization. We're not trying to build a marketing automation system. We're not trying to build out our marketing list. We've got 20,000 people a month on our website. We've got 100,000 plus marketing lists, and we've got 5 million more other folks that we can market to as well in our database. Yes, you heard the number, 5 million. And so what we've done is we've taken our customer service team, brought them over to the SaaS service team. We've taken our product development team that was on the training side. We brought them over to the education side on product development. We've stood up our entire product development and technology organization. And we've got developers all over the world that are actually helping to scale out product in a very rapid time frame. And we've also got our relationship managers. So when you sign up for FlyMSG, you will get a note from one of them that offers to onboard you free of charge for 30 minutes, which is the white glove, red carpet rollout treatment that we're giving for every one of our users at this stage in the game. So very excited to see what's coming. Again, we launched in August of this year as a software company. We're sitting in terms of traction, about 4,000 users. We have about 200 paid for subscribers. And there's another 150 left to go, to add on to that. So please get out there and help support Vengreso and help support FlyMSG. And as soon as that happens, we will actually send over to you some calendar invites so that we can reface your LinkedIn profile for you by adding on Vengreso and help you scale us as well. For all of you that have joined us, hey, I look forward to answering any more questions that you may have. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see you as an investor in Vengreso's FlyMSG. Thanks for listening to the Modern Selling Podcast. Please do me a huge favor and give the Modern Selling Podcast a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Oh, and don't forget, if you'd like to save 20 hours or more in a month and increase your productivity, go right now and download FlyMSG, that's FlyMSG.io for free. It's your free text expander and personal writing assistant. Hey, thanks for listening in, and until the next episode, good selling.